Hey guys, very important news. I'm starting a Patreon campaign. As some of you have already expressed, my content doesn't get released that quickly, especially the full YMS videos. I want to be able to release a full album instead of just a song every 4 months. I want to be able to start reviewing television shows. I want to be able to start reviewing video games. The only reason that I'm not gaining more momentum on YouTube is because I'm unable to release more frequently.
Now, some of you are probably wondering, Adam, why don't you just set your Patreon campaign to charge people monthly instead of per video? The reason why I don't want to do that is because I still want to provide a guarantee that I'm actually making videos. I don't want to be charging people and not have a guarantee that I'm actually making something for it. I hope that you'll believe me when I say this, is that the extra money that I have, sure, I might spend a bit of it on like sex toys and movies, but I want to save up money so that I can make a feature-length film. My ambitions do not stop at bashing movies on the internet. And even if I don't get a lot of money, even if I don't have enough to continue putting in the bank and save up over time, I'll just start a Kickstarter campaign when I'm 30 or something, and hopefully I can just make a movie then. And just remember that also my Patreon page is set up in a way that I'm getting paid per larger review. I'm not getting paid monthly no matter what I do, like some Patreon pages are set up. That way, you guys can know that I have every incentive to be putting out as many videos on this channel as possible, but also at the same time, they have to be larger reviews and not quickies, so I actually have to put effort into it. I could have set things up to incentivize me to do less work, but I didn't because I want a level of trust there between you guys and myself. If you keep doing things the same way forever, then it's literally impossible to grow and improve. This is part of my brain that I cannot turn off, and at this point I've realized that it makes the most sense to change my Patreon page to charge people monthly rather than per review. If you're thinking of donating on Patreon, thank you so much, but please remember only to do so if you actually like the content and if you're comfortable with the upload rate that you already see on my channel. Now I'm spending shit tons of time on this stuff, and even though it does take a long time because the way I do it is more complicated than the way other people do it, you can agree with me or not on that. It's still coming along. No, this was not an April Fool's video. I would have liked to have had this video out sooner, but I've been behind schedule on fucking everything. The Cool Cat review took a lot longer than I thought it would. I am really bad at anticipating when things are gonna come out if it's far ahead in the future. It's a big fucking mess, and now it's almost the end of the month. I thought that I would get 2 Patreon-supported videos out this month. It might not happen. It looks like it probably won't happen. Don't even know if I'm gonna do anything for my birthday, though, because I'm really fucking busy seeing Book of Mormon. I tried to get my Unfriended review out before Toronto Film Fest, but that didn't happen. Well, that took a hell of a lot longer than I wanted it to. This Unfriended review was kind of a nightmare to edit, and it's all my fault because I kept coming up with crazier and crazier ideas of what I wanted to do with it. Anyway, sorry about this one getting out so late. Once I'm finished up with my 2014 list, then I will put more focus into the Synecdoche analysis, part 5, which a lot of you have been waiting quite a long time for. Oh, and by the way, after Childhood Trauma Part 3, then my next priority will be Synecdoche, New York, Part 5. I know it has been a long time. There's kind of a point to it that I'll explain, and I mean, the fact that me saying it right there should be enough of an explanation, but I will explain it. The next project I'm focusing on is Synecdoche, New York, Part 5. And, yeah, it's, I know it's taken a long time to get back to it. There was kind of a purpose towards that will be explained later, within the video. Alright, so obviously it's been quite a while since Part 4, and even longer since I started this project. Essentially what happened is that as soon as I finished Part 4, I was dedicating nearly all of my time to finishing up my 2013 list. And as soon as I finished my 2013 list, it was film festival season, and in the midst of film festival season, I learned that my landlord was not renewing the lease. By this point, it had already been way too long since my last YMS review, so I focused all of my time on my Unfriended series. By the time the Unfriended series was over, it had already been 9 9 months since part 4 of Synecdoche, New York. So I figured, fuck it, it's already been 9 months, so what's the harm in making it wait even longer? I started to realize just how thematically fitting the whole situation was in relevance to the actual film. I mean, here I was in the middle of making a review for a film about the struggles of time, and the review itself is subject to many of these same struggles. Essentially what I'm saying is that this film is so incredibly meta that it has now infected this review, and upon realizing the thematic implications towards this review, I started becoming a lot more comfortable with leaving these huge time gaps in between episodes. At first I was stressing out about it, but eventually I just kind of allowed it to continue.
I don't know if I want to start on Synecdoche Part 6 just yet, and I know I'm kind of like blue-balling everybody, but that's almost kind of the point because it fits with the themes of the film. Don't you get it? It feels good to finally do something that I promised a while ago. I don't want to leave these things like open-ended and just say I'll do something and then not do it. I'm not that kind of guy. First of all, huge fucking news, so some of you guys already know that I make music. Well, the year's almost over, so I figured it would be appropriate to let you guys know that the album is not going to be ready for January 2018, unfortunately. However, fortunately, that means that the album will be finished and not being released unfinished, because right now it is unfinished, and that's why it cannot be released. And I was incredibly confident that the whole process would take about a year. I just guessed, you know, like I've never done a studio album before. And I can understand levels of frustration or impatience when it comes to this, but at the same time, it's not like I kickstarted this album and had a date where I said I would release it and now people feel ripped off or something. Like, I've self-funded this entire thing. Mind you, self-funding from a lot of Patreon donations, so thank you guys for that. If you release something too close to the end of the year, it's basically like committing marketing suicide. So if I have something ready for September, I'm going to hold on to it and plan out the release better and release it in January. Because if you release something in the last few months of the year, there's a good chance that some people won't see it and they won't add it to the top of the year list if it would go on there anyway. But that, I would say, would be the absolute latest. But I'm expecting the summer. I'm also still working on my album. I know a lot of you have been waiting for that very patiently. I've been recording it for, 2.5 years now? I know it's pretty crazy. It's, 15 tracks? Stay tuned for that. It's going to happen at some point this year. I know I said April earlier. I don't know if that's possible. Hello again, everybody. As you can probably tell, the album has not been released yet. When I think of like what I can say to make people feel better, you know, I'm saying these dates and I believe it myself, but as it turns out, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. At this point, like, I don't have a date. I don't have a date right now, because if I say another date, then it could just wind up people being disappointed because it's not out yet. Throwing a date out here, I hope it doesn't wind up the same way it has been before. It could take until like early next year, and I know that's like 9 months from now.
And it'll send me to the ground to